The first responsibility that devolves upon you is the protection and promotion of your democracy. Democracy means more, much more, than the right to vote, and one vote for every man and every woman of the prescribed age. Democracy means recognition of the rights of others. Democracy means the equality of all in the eyes of the law. Democracy means equality of opportunity for all in education, in the public service, and in private employment. I repeat, and in private employment. Democracy means responsibility of the government to its citizens, the protection of the citizens from the exercise of arbitrary power and the violation of human freedom and individual rights. Democracy means freedom of worship for all and the subordination of the rights of any one race to the overriding right of the human race. Democracy means freedom of expression and assembly and organization. All that is democracy. All that is our democracy, to which I call upon all citizens to dedicate themselves on this our Independence Day. This is what I meant when I gave the nation as its slogan for all time: discipline, production, tolerance. Our national flag belongs to all of us. Our national coat of arms with our national birds inscribed therein is the sacred trust of all our citizens. So it is today. Please, I urge you, let it always be so. Let us always be able to say with the psalmist, "Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together."
We, the people of Trinidad and Tobago, residing in the United Kingdom, are here today outside the Trinidad and Tobago High Commission in London, England, to demonstrate and express our total indignation at the unacceptable implementation of Section 34, which we find deeply disturbing and which we also feel constitutes a very serious threat to the well-being and national security of Trinidad and Tobagonians at home and abroad. Section 34 puts Trinidad and Tobagonians in a very precarious position. And because of this, we unequivocally reject this legislation and hereby call for both the Attorney General, Anand Ram Logan, and the Minister of National Security, Jack Warner, to tender their resignations from their governmental posts with immediate effect. We demand that they do so simply because they have breached their contracts in carrying out their governmental duties and responsibilities regarding protocol, and also by their complete and unacceptable violation of their sacred oaths in office. That's the speech I have to make for now. Thank you.
Yeah, recording. Go ahead.
All right. Though the numbers out here today, gathered here today in protest of the actions of the government of Trinidad and Tobago are quite disappointing.
You're not hearing me.
What we, the people of Trinidad and Tobago in London, are demonstrating is that we do actually care. People have this weird idea that Trinbagonians who reside abroad don't care. Well, today, at least those of us who showed up are demonstrating that we can dispel that notion. As citizens of our great nation, many of us have families at home or even friends. With or without, we all come with the spirit and love for our country. So yes, we love our country and we rise as patriots in its defense. We stand together with our people. We do so on Friday, November 2nd, which shall be a day to be remembered in history. It is this day that we stand tall and we say that enough is enough. This government has gone far too, it's just done too much nonsense. And today is the day that we stand up and say enough is enough. So we're demonstrating here today that we too do have worries. We are worried about our people's security at dangerous times. We do worry about the failing healthcare system and its impact on society and the children. We do worry about the prospects for the future, particularly when we have a government that cannot be trusted. Let us reflect on the themes that have arisen out of this activism. Certain questions that perhaps are the most consequential in generations. View it as a socio-political contest of sorts that will determine the course of our nation for many years to come. This is not just a debate about big issues such as corruption, Section 34, healthcare, education, but it's also a debate about values. The question of our people, citizens, is that we must take stock of our values as well as our liberties. We need to be able to recognize where we stand. So what we need to understand is, how do we restore trust in government when it seems that this trust has been removed and dominated by special interests like Ishgal Baransing and Steve Ferguson and the duo of Piako, or even the Gopals and the Nicholas family? How do we ensure that in an ever-globalizing world, the so-called winners look out for the least advantaged in society? And how do we begin to resolve our differences at a time of increasing difficulty and diversity? These are the questions that we should ask ourselves. Let's stop for a moment and ask yet another thought-provoking question. What is patriotism? Because the question of who is or is not a patriot all too often poisons over political discourses in ways that seek to divide us rather than unite us as one people under the colors of the red, white, and black. I mean, from a personal point of view, and from the perspective of a national residing abroad, it really demonstrates our love of country, that we can stand here today despite whatever notions confront us and whatever challenges that confront us, and really defend something and say that Section 34, the corruption, and all the nonsense that is going on in the government of Trinidad and Tobago, we say enough is enough, and we're gathered here today to demonstrate that we will not tolerate this any longer. So thank you. I don't know.
Mr. Trinidad, tell me what scene you on. Do you just like political confusion? You criticizing the way you live, yet you can't produce an alternative. You say you against the power structure, you ain't like the opposition either. But take care, you jump out the hot water and end up in the center of the fire. Because you refuse to vote in election, but then you want revolution. You're strongly against communism. You walk out on colonialism. You say Rick William had to go, but who to replace him? You ain't know. So to make a long story short from in front, Trinidadians ain't really know what they want. My friend, if you don't want democracy, the opposite is guerrilla activity. If you don't want democratic improvement, you have to want a revolutionist government. And yet when Guy Harewood went in the hills with Jennifer Jones, you let them get killed. All you're doing is grinning and skylarking. You come like the ass in the lion's skin. Because you say Robinson is a traitor. You say what's than that about Ranger. You say Kamal sinking his own interest. You call Millet a Marxist-Leninist. You are ODAC, neither DLP, and you say TNM is only ratchet. Well, you tying up yourself. I gonna tell you why. Trinidadians just like plenty mama guys. Trinidadian talking black power. It's not wrong for a man to love his culture. Yes, you walk around with your afro plait and you're dragging alpagat and fat sapat. But although they're rapping about Africa, you're eating roti like if you're born in India. So who you go blame when you make your book and end up like a cat on a hunting room? Because you say you're going Afro all the way.